What's up everyone, my name is Yura, and we are back in Rush Duel Links for the first time in what feels like a while. And honestly, it kind of has been a while. Genuinely, I haven't like seriously played Duel Links for like a couple of months at this point. I think I stopped playing pretty soon after the Red Boot set came out, and it's not even because I wasn't enjoying myself. The format was still a lot of fun, and I think even like over the course of the next couple of months and set releases, the format's only gotten better with the release of things like Shiny Shady. I think Rush Duel Links is maybe in the best place it's ever been format-wise. And honestly, the main reason why I haven't played is just because I haven't had the time. And now that the new sets come out, I find the urge to try a bunch of new decks again. And turns out some of the new decks from the new set are really, really cool. My favorite from the bunch has absolutely been Music Princesses, which is the deck you see on your screen. And there's a handful of reasons for that, but mainly it comes down to this is a deck full of Wind Warriors that are absurdly aggressive and have some absurdly powerful tools at their disposal. So much like with all of our Rush Duel Links deck profiles, I'm going to take this step by step. We're going to start at the skill, then go on to a general breakdown of the game plan, and then go through the card by card and why certain pieces are in here to make the deck work like we want. So kicking off, we've got Music Princess's Breath, the main skill. Quick note, I have heard that there is like a second good skill around, but genuinely, I don't know which one it is, and I haven't read all of them because this is like my third day playing Rush Duel Links again, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm kind of just vibing it. So I fully expect my gameplay to not be up to par with like how I've been playing in previous videos, but we'll get back. I'll shake the rust off. We'll be all right. So regardless, Music Princess's Breath is a really solid, very simple skill that can be activated from turn 2 onward by revealing a warrior type monster with 2000 or more defense in your hand if all the monsters in your constructed deck are wind attribute warrior type monsters or wind attribute beast type monsters. That secondary one will not come up for the current deck, but there are a couple of cards that like you could in theory slot in. I think like Bender Break is one, and there's also an archetypal one like Trumpet Tiger that we're just not playing because it doesn't really work with the other part of the skill, which is add a Botan the Music Princess or fusion from your deck or graveyard to your hand, and then this turn you can normal summon or set warrior type monsters with 2000 or more defense with 1 less tribute. So a couple of things here. 1, Botan the Music Princess. This is your main fusion material for both of your big boss monsters. We have a 7-card extra deck and 2 boss monsters, so that means we do have our good friend Flame Wingman as our mascot. But the other part of this skill, this turn you can normal summon or set warrior type monsters with 2000 or more defense with 1 less tribute, unfortunately kind of removes Trumpet Tiger from the equation, which stinks because I think Trumpet Tiger is an interesting card, and I'll pull it up real quick. I probably should have done it before, but oh well. So Trumpet Tiger, first and foremost, is a beast, so you can't even like summon it for 1 less tribute. But also, its effect is like fine for a level 7, but like there's just better things you can be doing, I think, unfortunately. Genuinely, I think if this card summoned a level 8 or lower Wind Warrior from your graveyard instead of your hand, it would be in a much, much better spot. But because it doesn't, this deck already has some issues keeping cards in hand for like Shiny Shady effects, or even just like keeping a boss in hand for a follow-up turn, because this deck does not have a lot of easy ways of searching its boss monsters. And if we had a way of getting them back out of the graveyard, it would really increase the general power level of the milling factor of this deck. But because you can't, and because Trumpet Tiger summons from hand, it just really doesn't fit, unfortunately. And it stinks because I do like it in theory. It's just not quite enough. But onto the actual cards in our deck. We've got Digisoon the Music Fiend, who is a level 8, 2400 attack warrior wind attribute that, like the skill says, we contribute for 1 less requirement so long as we reveal any of our bosses during that turn. And by the way, that skill is not just for the monster you revealed, it's for all of them, which is really helpful if you have a hand full of just big guys and you like really need a way to just get them out of your hand. Digisoon, though, is a pretty simple effect. It's if your opponent has a defense position monster on their field, you can send the top card of your deck to the graveyard, and then this card will gain attack equal to the number of defense position monsters on your opponent's field times 800 until the end of this turn. This card on its own can represent a pretty big number, and we do have ways of changing positions in the deck, but the main thing that this card is like supposed to work with in archetype is straight Pierce, which we are not playing for a very simple reason, and it's its requirement. The requirement of shuffling 5 Wind Warriors from your graveyard into the deck is really counter to what we want to be doing for our power plays. And that kind of directly ties in to Music Princess's Battle Ballet, which I will touch on after I talk about Ensemble Fighter, the Music Fiend. This is the other ace monster of the deck, and it's also the one that has an animation, which is interesting because I feel like this is kind of the one that doesn't do that much, but its fusion is pretty good. So Ensemble Fighter is for sending a card from your hand to the graveyard. This turn, while this card is face up, your opponent cannot activate trap cards when your wind attribute warrior type monsters declare attacks. Extremely powerful effect. Unfortunately, it's on a 2200 body, which is just a little too small. Although it doesn't really matter that much. Genuinely, having this card on field alongside a fusion is an absurd push turn and can lead to some really devastating damage. Speaking of the fusions, you'll notice that we are on the double fusion spell because it is searchable by the skill, but this deck also has their own archetypal fusion spell in Music Princess's Battle Ballet. And if you're familiar at all with this deck, you know this card because it's Miracle Fusion, except it doesn't use the field, it uses the hand. And honestly, that's absurd in a deck like this. The main drawback to using this card is that you have to have 5 or more Wind Warriors in your graveyard to activate it, but unlike straight Pierce, it doesn't require you to shuffle them into the deck, so that once you hit that 5 warriors in graveyard requirement, there's a very likely chance that any follow-up copies of this card you find over the course of the game, it'll probably be live due to how Rush Duel's back and forth gameplay works. But the reason why I think this card is so nuts is that it pairs incredibly well with the skill, because the skill is already trying to guarantee you that you set up at least 1 fusion during your turn, and over the course of your turn, this deck does a lot of self-milling, so the likelihood of you having 5 Wind Warriors in your graveyard by the time you get to do your main fusion play, if you have Battle Ballet in hand, it's pretty likely that you can just use the same materials you used for your normal fusion to use Battle Ballet, leaving you with 2 giant, really powerful monsters that I will talk about right now because they are kind of the heart and soul of the deck. Divine Breath, the Orchestral Music Fiend, is the Digicune fusion using Botan, the Music Princess. Botan, I think I've already mentioned, is the main fusion material requirement for both of these. And then Flame Wingman's here because he's my friend. But Divine Breath can send up to 3 cards from your hand to the graveyard, and this turn, this card cannot be destroyed by opponent's trap effects, and it inflicts piercing. Also, if you activated this effect during the main phase that you special summon this card, it also gains attack equal to the number of monsters sent to the graveyard to meet the requirement, times 1000. Typically, if you actually go through the process of summoning this card normally, and you're not just like later in a game using Battle Ballet with like basically a full hand, this card will probably just hit 4k, 5k if you're lucky and your hand was just very monster heavy. But like a 4k Piercer is still Cyber End Dragon. That's huge and is a really devastating considering the fact that like you could just Battle Ballet out a second one, which is crazy. The other fusion is Full Orchestra, the Music Fiend. This is a 29-29. Really, really solid stats on both of these cards, by the way. A 3k, 3k, and a 29-29 is genuinely incredible in a format where there's like some position change shenanigans going on with Shiny Shady. These are really solid defensive stats. But Full Orchestra can send a card from your hand to the graveyard to Harpy's Feather Duster your opponent's back row, and then gain attack equal to the number of cards it blew up. This card is the reason why Ensemble Fighter is like fine to just be 22, because even if it doesn't stay on field to use its like your opponent cannot activate trap cards effects, the fusion for it just blows them all up anyway, so it literally doesn't matter. Both of these boss monsters are absolutely incredible in their own right, but the fact that you can go fusion into Battle Ballet in the same turn to get 2 of them is absolutely ridiculous. Rounding out the rest of our monsters, we've got Trombeau, the Music Princess of Melodic Crown. This is probably the best main deck monster in the entire deck. It's your main consistency piece. It's a really solid like mill engine, and overall it is just really, really helpful for digging through your deck. Trombeau can send the top 2 cards of your deck to the graveyard and then send a Wind Attribute Warrior from their hand to the graveyard in order to draw a card, and then if you have a normal monster in your graveyard, you can also change the battle position of a monster on either field. This is really helpful for setting up big Pierce plays. Say your opponent is playing like Metarion guys and they all have tiny defense, or there's just like some random 0 defense schmuck sitting around. This card's really, really great for that. But it can also be used to play around Shiny Shady. If you go for like a fusion play early on, and then you have a Trombeau sitting in your hand, you can normal the Trombeau and then use its effect to turn one of your fusion monsters back to attack position if they get shadied, which is incredible for being able to play around probably the most important trap in the entire format. The other effect monster that we're on that is not the bosses is Horn Knives, the Music Princess. This card's like okay, but it's like the other good name that is an effect monster, because the others are like 1 tributes or they don't do enough. It's probably like the worst card in the deck other than the 1500 vanilla, but like it's fine. Horn Knives is during the turn you normal summon this card, you can send the top card of your deck to the graveyard. Then if you send a warrior monster to the graveyard by this effect, you can add a warrior type normal monster from your graveyard to your hand. It's solid consistency, it gets your mills going. It's like the fact that this is probably the worst monster in the deck that is an effect monster is really saying something, because this card is really good. As mentioned previously, we're on the double vanillas. They're just here to fill space, I'm going to be honest. Like, we have a 1500, it's fine. And this is our fusion material. Again, it's fine. On to spells, the 1-of Pot of Greed is our legend spell of choice. I think you could maybe put like Hammer Shot in here, but I don't want to do that. You could maybe play Warrior Returning Alive, but again, I don't want to do that. And you shouldn't play Polymerization, because Music Princess's Battle Ballet is also Polymerization. We're on 2 additional 1-ofs, the single Curse of the Rising Light and the single Avian Spell Tactics. You could realistically move these ratios around if you want. I don't think these are like the most important. Like, if you're not playing this card, you're doing it wrong. I'm going to be honest, I don't think any of the things that I'm saying are like going to be the way that the meta absolutely like adjusts to this deck. I'm just a silly little anime boy talking about card games. I don't know the meta. I am just a funny guy. These 2 cards are just like decent staples. Curse of the Rising Light helping you play through trap cards, and Avian Spell Tactics just being another method to remove back row. They're fine. For traps, we're on the, at least me personally, I feel like this is the 3 of mandatory Shiny Shady. You could probably play 2 and be fine, but I've really been loving 3. And our legend trap of choice is the Trap Hole. So, with all the cards covered, let's see it in action. Folks, I'm going to be honest with you. It's been a little bit since I was on the ladder. We've fallen all the way down to silver. I'm going to be honest. I was in bronze when I started playing again, so I'm slowly working my way back up, but it's going to take a bit. Will not lie. This hand is not ideal, but it'll be okay. We're going to set and set and set. And our opponent will simply not kill us. They're on an archive skill. Could be Cyber Dragons. Could be heroes. Yup. That is kind of what I figured. Yeah, honestly, I'm going to trap all that. It's probably like the best use that we're going to get. Okay, well, that's unfortunate. So last card's probably Fusion. But this, in theory, does increase our chances of not dying. Oh, it's nothing. Oh, no, they get to... Yeah, they send it and then add Fusion. Avian Spell Tactics. Okay. We should be fine next turn. They have exactly 1 Thunder Giant, no back row. I feel decent. So we don't take damage here. Hello, Thunder Giant. We're just going to swing in. Yep, we'll lose our card. We've got 2 bosses sitting here. I'm feeling all right. Let's find a fusion play, please. That is not a fusion play. Let's go Horn Knives. Oh my god, we actually hit vanilla. That's crazy. We'll go Breath. I don't even know what we're getting here. We'll reveal Ensemble Fighter. I kind of want to get the fusion. No, I'll get the Botan. We'll summon the Botan. We're going to use these both as tribute fodder. Summon you. Summon you. 3 monsters in grave, so it's much better to just summon this. We'll set the shiny shady and just get swinging. You do have to crash in, which is really unfortunate, but I think I have to. I can't leave them with the fusion on board. It's way too dangerous. We'll pass it back. They're down to 23. We do have Battle Ballet still just sitting here. We've got a live shady. Hero relies on monsters to remove back row typically. They use Burst Wingman. So we already saw one of their spell trap cards. Yeah, Avian Spell Tactics. I don't know if they play more than that. So we might kind of just be in the clear to stick a shady here and then just kill them again next turn. But we'll see. At the very least, our Battle Ballet will be on next turn, which will be very, very nice. We do have all the materials for it in the graveyard already. So all they have to do is kill one more of our monsters. They're going to start with a Sparkman that we are not going to shady. That's not how that works. Second Sparkman. Yep. For Cinetrix, that doesn't do anything for them. There is not a Sparkman Burst Lady fusion. I don't know why I called her Burst Lady. That is terrifying. I'm going to shady that. I choose life. I will not swap my own thing to defense position. No, thank you. Got a back row. Yep, crash over our guy. We now have the 5 monsters in grave, so we can properly kill them into the sun. We are going to summon the Botan here. We're going to go fusion. I want to make the back row popper real quick. Just in the case that it is shiny shady. Okay, it's not. We're going to send you Poly. Why is everyone on Poly? Let's go Breath. Reveal Digisoon. Add... It doesn't matter what we add here. I guess we'll get the Botan. We will summon the Botan. Digisoon. And then we will Battle Ballet. Summoning our Divine Breath. Using the Digisoon in the graveyard and one of the Botans. We will go Divine Breath, pitch this Trombo, gain attack, and we are just going to go punching in real hard. This deck is so unbelievably silly. Very, very silly deck. I love it very much. Hello, Yuga. I've been seeing a lot of spellcasters recently. I'm honestly really happy to see that deck has still kind of stuck around. I really like it. I know a lot of people are frustrated with how it plays and the fact that it repeatedly has access to some absolutely crazy boards, but genuinely every good deck in this format can do that. So I think it's totally fine. And also, I just like Seven's Road cards. I think they're neat. They're going to start with Dark Sorcerer. This is a 40 card deck. This is actually probably the correct setup for them. Ooh, this is an interesting hand. We're gonna go... Oh my god, we can Curse of the Rising Light. We're gonna start with the Pot of Greed. Let's try and find a piece... Okay. I was looking for a piece of our... What's it called? Fusion plays. Let's go Curse of the Rising Light. Swap you. Draw 2. There we go. Now we're online. We'll reveal Digisoon. Grab Fusion. Now, am I going to make the back row popper or the piercer? Probably the piercer. I think that's Digisoon, right? Yeah, Digisoon. So we'll summon Botan. We will tribute summon our Digisoon. We'll go second Botan. Fusion. Make Divine Breath. We don't have Shady back there, so... It's probably Battle Traps, which is really great for us because Ensemble Fighter is just going to stop that. We'll go Trombo. Trombo effect. Mill 2. Pitch the Horn Knives. Ooh, Shady's interesting. We'll swap this to attack. That's exactly the reason why we did that. I'm actually going to pitch the Shady here because we don't have a way of making it online. Do I try to kill them here? No, I can't kill them. This is fine. We'll swing you over you. And 22 with no piercing. That's fine. We've got Trap Hole set. Our grave, I'm pretty sure, is properly set up for Battle Ballet. Yep. So any further turns that we have are going to be really devastating for our opponent. And they do still have to break 2 boss monsters, which Seven's Road can absolutely do. It just really depends on their draws here. I'm pretty sure if they have, like, Strange Witch does it really cleanly. But I don't think they have the proper monsters in rotation to make that work. Lily Slayer. Oh, what is that doing here? Dark Magician's Curtain. Polymerization. Oh, God. That's terrifying. Okay, 7's Paladin. That's fine. That's terrifying. Paladins and Dark Sword Magician. Insane. Tribute summon the 7th Road Witch, which we're going to Trap Hole. Set 1 and set 2. All right, so I'm assuming they're going to out our Divine Breath, which leaves their back row open for Ensemble Fighter Fusion. Hello, Battle Ballet. Battle Ballet. Sorry, I cannot speak. Princess's Breath. We're going to go reveal Bullfighter, grab a fusion from deck. We will tribute summon our Botan and perform a fusion to make full orchestra the Music Fiend. Part is ridiculous. We'll go full orchestra, send the other Ensemble Fighter, pop both back row. What was it? I'm very curious. 2 fusions. Then we will go Blue Tomahawk, summon our Digisoon, fill our graveyard a little more, Battle Ballet. This card is so absurdly crazy. Digisoon and Botan from graveyard. This deck's so nuts. It's so much fun. It feels kind of like Dark Galaxy, where you just summon a billion guys. Yeah, and they're going to scoop it up. All right. That turn was nuts. This deck's so much fun. All right, so we're back with the deck, and I've got a couple of thoughts. First things first, I don't think this list is perfect. It is very much a version 1. I know I keep saying, oh, this deck will come back on the channel at some point. And as much as I do want to do things like that, I just have too many decks entering my brain at all times. It's very hard for me to like loop back around and talk about a deck I've already done. But this is a deck that I will be continuously refining and talking about, probably over on Blue Sky as I climb through the ladder, because this is probably going to be the deck I do my cog climb on. It's just so much fun. It's got an absolute ridiculous amount of pushing potential, and Battle Ballet is one of the most absurd cards to resolve. Every time it goes off, I feel like it is doing just a thing too many, and I love it so much. Other than that, and like maybe looking into what the other skill says, I don't actually fully know what else I would swap with this deck. There's a couple of things here and there that my mind kind of goes to. Like I keep doing this thing where I search Wind, Beast, and Warrior and just like look at what we have access to. Like Bender Break is technically a thing here. Trumpet Tiger that I've already talked about that I don't really like. But the rest of the Wind Warriors, like the level 5 here that like adjusts attack and defense values, is like not great. Our attack numbers are already kind of big. Trumpetomfa is a weird level 6 that again does some like attack modifications, but it's really low. There's like Vietra the Prevailing Wind, which is a weird card that I think we just got. It gives piercing, which again our monsters already do. There's the 1400 defense monster, which could maybe be better than the 1500 vanilla. I don't really know. Honestly, I'm just kind of happy to be back playing Rush Duel again. I love this game so much. And even though it is stuck in Duel Links, I will continuously love it because it is just so sick. And even though I didn't really get to show off Shady that much, this is probably like the main foundation for the current format. I think decks being built around Shady is really, really healthy, and generally it's just a really good card for keeping the pace of play relatively in check so we don't have another Gaia situation occurring. But with all that said, I want to thank you all so much for watching. I want to try to rotate through Rush Duel and Meadowlands and Clash fairly consistently now that I'm kind of getting back into the swing of everything. Genuinely, I'm just having a blast playing card games, and who knows, maybe some other ones will pop in every so often. I've got a little bit of Digimon on the brain. I'm very excited for that simulator to come out. I also want to do a little bit of talking about some dead card games. I won't lie. I have a thing in my brain that just like has me wanting to talk about weird niche card games that no longer exist because I like them. I think they're very interesting. They are a part of me and I love them, and I don't know why. They mean a lot to me. But again, thank you so much for sticking around to the end of the video. It means a lot to me. Go check out the Scrapyard video if you want some Meadowlands content, or check out my Clash deck profiles. The Spider one is probably one of my favorite decks in Clash at the moment. I love those cards so much. With all that covered, I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.